Chapter 13, Day 5. Failure isn't the end, it's the beginning. Welcome to JV Matters. I'm Coach. This channel isn't just about football, it's about leadership, character, and developing young men through the greatest game ever played. Whether you're a coach, player, or parent, I hope you'll find something here that challenges, encourages, and inspires you. So let's get started. If there's one thing football guarantees is this: you're going to fail. You're going to miss a tackle. You're going to drop a pass. You're going to miss an assignment. You're going to lose a game you thought you should have won. You're going to have a practice or practices where nothing seems to go right. The question isn't if you fail. The question is, what are you going to do after you fail? How do you handle it? I have seen many young players wear their mistakes on their sleeves, and they just can't seem to shake it. One of the biggest difference between players who grow and players who stay the same isn't talent, it's their response to failure. I've coached players who made one mistake and let it ruin the rest of their practice or even the game. Their head dropped, their confidence disappeared, they stopped competing because they were afraid of making another mistake. Then I've coached players who made the exact same mistake. They took a deep breath, listened to the correction, and lined up for the next play, and never let one bad moment define the rest of their day. Guess which players improve the fastest? As coaches, we don't expect perfection. We coach high school athletes. They're learning, they're growing. Mistakes are part of the process. What we do expect is effort. We expect players to respond. We expect players to compete on the next snap of the ball. We expect players to compete at the highest level they can perform. We expect them to compete. One mistake doesn't concern me nearly as much as how a player reacts to it. I tell my players all the time, the next play is the most important play of the game, not the last one. I tell my players as well, you have to have short-term memory in football. If you let the last play linger, you're going to make another mistake again and again and again. And you'll probably make that same mistake again and again and again. Short-term memory is what you have to have in football. You can't change what already happened. It's done and gone and over with. Forget about it. Move to the next play. But you can control what happens next. That's true in football and it's true in life. Some of the greatest lessons I've learned as a coach came after losses, not wins. Losses force you to evaluate. I can evaluate a player on their mistakes easier than on their wins. They force you to improve. They force you to ask difficult questions. Winning is fun. Everybody loves to win. I love to win. Who doesn't? But losing, if you handle it the right way, can become one of the greatest teachers. The same is true for players. I've watched athletes who got cut from a team come back stronger the next year. I've watched players who started on the scout team become varsity captains. I've watched young men who lack confidence develop into leaders. What changed? They stopped looking at failure as a finish line, and they started looking at it as a classroom. I've mentioned that before. The lines on the football field is your classroom. The practice field is your classroom. Use it that way. Learn from it. One of my favorite sayings is this: failure is an event. It is not your identity. Say that again. Failure is an event, not your identity. Missing a tackle doesn't make you a bad football player. College and pro football players make mistakes all the time. And the funny thing, or the bad thing, I guess you could say, is pro football players, when they make it, they're making millions of dollars and they make a mistake. The same mistakes that you've probably made as a high school player. So don't feel bad. Failing is a test. Failing on a test doesn't make you a bad student. Making a mistake doesn't make you a failure. Giving up, however, that's the decision that keeps people from growing. Football has a unique way of teaching resilience. Every play gives you another opportunity. Every practice gives you another opportunity. Every season gives you another opportunity. The players who keep showing up, keep learning, and keep competing are usually the ones who surprise everyone at the end of the year. Not because they never failed, because they are always failing, I'm sure, but because they refuse to let failure have the final word. As coaches, we should never rescue players from every failure. That may sound harsh, but it's true. How else are they going to learn? Every player will fail. They'll have bad days. They'll make mistakes. Be there to correct them and help them along the way. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give a young player is allowing him to struggle while standing beside him as he learns how to overcome it. Life won't remove every obstacle, neither should we. Instead, we should teach them how to face those obstacles with courage, discipline, and determination. That's how confidence is built, not by avoiding failure, by overcoming it. Every player needs to learn how to overcome failure because they're going to get it in football, in school, in life. They're going to face a test in school that they thought they should have passed with flying colors and they're going to fail it. We need to be there to help them. So if you're a player listening today, I want you to remember this. The next time you make a mistake, own it. Learn from it and then move on because you are going to make a mistake. The coaches are going to tell you you made a mistake, but own it. Don't carry yesterday's mistake into today's opportunity because your future will never be determined by the number of times you fail. It will be determined by the number of times you choose to get back up. Go listen to some of Michael Jordan's comments on how many times he failed, how many times they gave him the ball at the whistle, the final seconds of the game, and how many times he failed on those final shots. But also how many times he did succeed because he never gave up. So in closing, failure doesn't decide the future or decide your future. Your response to failure does. Every great player, every great coach, and every great leader has failed. The difference is they didn't stay there. They didn't stay knocked down. They got back up. They learned. They adapted. They grew. And they came back stronger. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the question every player should ask themselves. Who am I becoming? Because football isn't just about shaping the player you are today. It's shaping the man you'll become tomorrow. So thank you for watching JV Matters. If you believe football is about developing character as much as developing athletes, please like this video, subscribe, and share it as a coach, parent, or player who's committed to building better young men through the game of football. Until next time, keep leading, keep serving, and never forget JV matters because it's never been about football. You all have an outstanding day.